Welcome to the show that takes up no more than 5 minutes of your time, but could help you gain massive real estate knowledge. It's 5 Minutes in Real Estate with best-selling author Shane Willis.
Hello, it's Shane Willis, Pensacola real estate expert, bringing you today's episode. All right, so today, Tuesday, I wanted to talk about a Wall Street Journal article that we had. I actually had a different podcast prepared. We had some notes on the buyer profile. There's a lot of people asking me, is now a good time to buy? Am I really a first-time home buyer? What does a first-time home buyer look like? Should I buy it before I'm married, after I'm married, all that other stuff. So we had a pretty good, it's actually a graph we come up with. But I put that in blogs. I just actually posted that. So if you get over to shanewillis.com/blog, you can see that along with all that information. Well, Fred's here today. But I read this morning the Wall Street Journal article. And so I decided to make that today's podcast instead of the blog one that I just posted, because the Wall Street Journal talked about sale of new homes. Sale of new homes in the U.S. rose. New homes. And of course, anything that says homes, when I'm reading the journal in the morning, I'm going to pay attention to it. Homes, oil, that's some stuff that I usually pay attention to pretty much. And I'll just read some of it. I'm actually going to post the whole article up in the podcast notes. So if you get over to shanewillis.com/podcast, then you'll be able to find it in there. So, purchases of newly built single-family homes, a relatively narrow slice of all the U.S. home sales, grew 6.7% to a seasonally adjusted annual amount of 689,000. Here's what caught my attention. Still, previously owned home sales, which represents the bulk of the housing market, which means that house that you live in that you're selling, or that investment property that's already been built and you're selling, which represents the bulk of the housing market, had declined from a year earlier. That is surprising to a lot of people. It's declined. We normally don't see decline here. So it declined. Meanwhile, the pace of new home sales still remains well below the elevated levels of 2007 and 2009. So existing homes sold declined. Well, we'll get rained on a little bit. Let me get up under the porch. Existing home sales declined a little bit. New home sales grew, but they were still nothing to the level they used to be. So what does that mean? Well, the rise in new home sales is likely related to historically low inventory of existing homes on the market. With fewer buyer options among existing homes, home buyer demand is shifting towards new builds. That's why we're seeing so many new builds. Matter of fact, today's lunch, I've got to go over to one of the new subdivisions that one of the builders has invited us over, to have lunch, and hopefully this rain doesn't cause too much of a background noise. They've invited us over to have lunch to show the new subdivision, so we can see what's going on, because there is a demand for new home builds. New home sales data can be volatile, though. I understand this, and this is for all the folks that really like to read into statistics. The 6.7% gain came with a margin of error of 14.1, which means it could have been a loss. But here's what really jumped out at me today. Sales in the South appeared to be driving it. Sales in the South. If you don't know, that's where we are. New home purchases in that region rose 17.9%, the largest gain since the end of 2014. There's a lot behind that. One of the things that is actually behind it is the new tax laws. And if you go back and search in the podcast, you can see I did a podcast about 2 weeks ago. It says new tax laws have home buyers checking new places. Like, Florida. Oh, rain's almost done. It's finished now. I see it walking up the road. That was you get it in like 4 minutes. That's typical Florida weather, wasn't it? It poured for 4 minutes and that was it. So you guys got to hear what we talk about all the time here. Just wait 5 minutes and it'll change. The stuff you're hearing now is coming down from my drain. But they're checking out new places. So we see a big move here to Florida. Pensacola's seeing the same thing. Now, why are everybody going to the new builds instead of the existing homes? Well, here's what one of the realtors, chief economist said. So the supply figures have been mostly below 6, the traditional mark for a balanced market. So he was saying, hey, we're under that 6 mark to make it kind of a seller's market. But realtors complain of a chronic and acute shortage of quality homes for sale. Now, builders are facing another problem. The tariffs on lumber coming out of Canada, the tariffs on lumber coming out of some of the other countries, Mexico, that the builders get their lumber for, much needed lumber, is adding about $9,000 to $10,000 to new home jobs. Period. It's just a cost. The builder has to pass that on. They can't absorb it because the margins aren't that great to where you can absorb $10,000 a house for a subdivision. I mean, you build 100 houses, okay, you do the math. So that's going to continue to hurt new builds some. And since real estate agents and the market is complaining that we don't have good quality homes, that's what's pushing people to buy new builds. So how do we fix that? Well, we do some perceived upgrades. We make sure that there is some quality there. We look at differentiation. Now, are there some price points where we're not going to have to deal with this? Probably. But just as I talked about yesterday, between $300 and $350 here, yeah, you're going to have to deal with it. Because I looked this morning, and now we're over 7 months worth of inventory. 7. Okay, it's like 7.8. That makes it a buyer's market for that price point. So if you can get a builder home for $300,000 or your existing home for $300,000, you need to make sure that you have those quality upgrades, quality of life upgrades, or else the property's going to sit. It's just going to sit. All right. So why do I tell you all that? The sellers need to do that, and the buyers need to understand their play. Understand that, if you're going to go to the new builds, that's fine. Understand the prices are going to continue to be a little higher just because of their cost, the builder's cost, and rates are on the rise. So unless you've got a program that can lock in your rates for 9 months to 12 months, then you may be expecting to do a 5% interest rate, because that's honestly where I think rates will be by the end of the year. All right, that's all I got for you today. As always, if you have not subscribed to get the tips, tricks, graphs, infographics, get over to 5minutesinrealestate.com. That's 5minutesinrealestate.com. Also, if you have not subscribed to the podcast, go to your player of choice. We are on Google Play, iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, all of them. Just go over to your player of choice, hit subscribe, give me a thumbs up. Been getting a lot of likes from, a rainbow. Sorry, I just squirreled this morning. A double rainbow. Wow, must be a good day. Maybe that's my grandmother smiling down this morning. I've been getting a lot of hearts on SoundCloud, so thank you for that. And finally, if you found any value in this, except for the little squirrel moments that I have every once in a while, but if you have found any value in this or any other episode, I don't ask for any money, although it costs me money to make these, but I do ask that you share it on social media. Have a great Tuesday.